Do you struggle to breathe? Well, I don't know if you can tell. Right now, I'm on oxygen, and I have been for several weeks. So this is an appropriate class for me. So we're going to talk about some natural solutions to lower respiratory disease. The webinar is going to discuss the respiratory system, what is involved in the respiratory system, and generally speaking, it lasts about an hour to do these classes. And I have been able to do some classes that last only like 10 minutes without oxygen, but I certainly didn't want to take a chance on this one causing any breathing issues. So like I said, it's an appropriate class. I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing natural remedies with people. Natural remedies have been around for hundreds, even thousands of years because they work, and they work on humans. So we are going to discuss a lot of natural remedies today. So the lower respiratory disease affects about 5% of the population. 2 of the top 10 leading causes of death involve the lungs. So we have chronic lower respiratory diseases is the 4th leading cause of death. And I would venture to say that that statistic probably has risen since COVID, because one of the concerns with COVID is pneumonia. So both the 4th leading cause of death and the 9th leading cause of death, I think have increased since the onset of COVID. So general aids to support lung health. Well, first of all, you want to avoid irritants. If you smoke, quit. I mean, that to me is the most ridiculous thing when I see somebody on oxygen, taking their oxygen and putting it aside so they can have a cigarette. I mean, you really need to take stock of what's going on with your body. The other thing is be careful with volatile chemicals such as paint fumes, artificial fragrances, and solvents. Make sure that there's plenty of airflow when you are using these products. But the other thing is people use these stick-up chemicals to what they think is perfume the air and make it smell better. But all they're doing is putting more chemicals into the air. I would love for you to go on Google and look up all the chemicals that are in Febreze. Many people use Febreze, they spray it. Advertisements are to sell products. They aren't there for your better health. They're there to sell products, and you need to investigate what's in those products. What's in that chemical fertilizer that you're spraying on your lawn in your shorts and absorbing it through your skin? Be aware of these chemicals that are around you. Use house plants to filter the indoor air. So like during the winter, make sure you have plenty of plants around so they can turn our carbon dioxide into oxygen for us to breathe. So, and if you live in an area where there are high pollutants, then invest in an air purifier. There are plenty of really wonderful air purifiers out there. There's air filters and there's air purifiers. So you need to do some research on what's going to be best for your needs. Now, there is a huge relationship to your gut and your lungs, and the Chinese call that the metal energy. So in traditional Chinese medicine, they absolutely believe that your gut has an impact on your lung health. So for example, if you take in toxins, if you have enough acid in your gut, that acid will kill the toxins. But if you don't, if you're on proton pump inhibitors or TUMS or things that take away the natural acid that should be in your stomach, you impact your immune system as far as your respiratory health goes. So inflammation in the gut GI tract is called dysbiosis, and other GI tract problems contribute to respiratory issues. So make sure that your digestion is good. Like we mentioned, don't eat foods that are, cause you respiratory distress. Keep the gut healthy with enzymes. I take enzymes with every meal. Take probiotics. There's a school of thought that you should take your probiotics without food. There's another school of thought that says you should take them after your food. I don't care, just take them. Fiber is very important. Keep your toxins flowing out of the body, and of course, a healthy diet. Staying hydrated. Mucus is mostly water. So you want to make sure you're drinking plenty of it. Keeping the lungs hydrated helps the mucus trap and remove irritants. So how you do that is through coughing, blowing your nose, sneezing. These are all ways for the lungs to be able to move the toxic mucus out, and it does it through the upper respiratory. So adding a little sea salt helps to increase mucus production, and it's actually a natural decongestant. So you want to make sure you're taking in half your body weight in ounces of water every day. So some specific respiratory problems, we have chronic cough. This is the type of cough that's totally unproductive. Some people actually get an irritated throat because they cough too much and they're not moving mucus out of the lungs. So it is an involuntary violent expulsion of air from the lungs. Chronic coughs are usually non-productive, meaning no mucus is expelled. So some expectorants and decongestants. Decongestants loosen or thin mucus. We have wonderful natural decongestants and expectorants. Now, expectorants help to expel the mucus. So sometimes they work together. Some herbal remedies are pine bark, wild cherry bark, horehound, horseradish, grandelia, and yerba santa. Now, we are sponsored by Nature Sunshine, and they have a wonderful product called ALJ, or the capsulated form is called Seasonal Defense. And it's a recipe designed to help decongest and move this thickened mucus out. So it also works with, it has some herbs in it that actually help the colon work better. It's a really great combination. And I will leave a link in the description below where you can get a 25% coupon. So moistening expectorants help dry unproductive coughs. So if you have these unproductive coughs, then the best thing you want to do is take some of these. So like right now, I'm taking marshmallow and fenugreek. It's a combination that helps to move mucus from the lungs. So one of the reasons why I'm on oxygen is because the left lung is dealing with pneumonia and there's congestion in it. So I'm trying to use herbs that will help to move this energy and make it easier on my heart so my heart doesn't have to pump so hard. So these are herbs that you can take in combination or you can take by themselves. Nature Sunshine has a traditional Chinese medicine support called lung support, which I'm also taking. And there are herbs in it that help support the lungs. Now, antitussives and aromatherapy. Now, this woman has a towel draped over her. She's got a bowl of boiling water here, and she's dropped some, maybe eucalyptus in there, maybe pine, maybe a combination of these, and you tent over it and inhale. And that helps to open up, often it will help to open up the upper respiratory, but if you can breathe deep enough, you can also get it into the bronchioles and into the lungs. So antitussives calm the cough reflex. So lobelia, you can sip on lobelia tea. We have lobelia in liquid form that you can take a couple of drops and you can actually feel it calming. I've had people actually rub lobelia on their chest and it goes through and helps to calm a cough. There's also coltsfoot flower and licorice root. So bronchitis. Bronchitis is inflammation of the tubes of the lungs. So it is you can see the tube here and leading into some of the upper part of the lung. It can be caused by irritants, allergic reactions, or infection. Inflammation involves swelling, and this swelling constricts airflow, making breathing more difficult. So it may also cause more mucus production as the body tries to flush irritation. So you do want mucus and you need it to flow. It's when this mucus becomes dry that it becomes the irritant. So garlic, we know that if we take in garlic, we can smell it, and that means it can go to the lungs. If you do an experiment, rub a clove of garlic on your foot, actually you can taste it and breathe it out. Golden seal, but I'm cautious of golden seal. It is one of the endangered herbs. It's been over harvested. So I tend not to use golden seal whenever possible. Echinacea elderberry is something I take on a daily basis. I feel that it is a wonderful antiviral and supports good health of the respiratory and immune system. So you want to reduce inflammation, and cordyceps is something elderly people in China take all the time and keep their lungs healthy. It adds to stamina and vitality. So cordyceps is really a good thing that you can take on a daily basis. Licorice root, marshmallow, mullein, elecampane, and osha. Now, NSP has a wonderful bronchial formula. I've had many clients come in with bronchitis that absolutely love the response they got from the bronchial formula. Now, asthma involves the chronic inflammation in the bronchial passages. An asthmatic has reduced airflow due to swelling. So you can see there's a normal bronchial here, and here how the tissue has swollen and the opening is much reduced. So under stress, an asthma attack may occur where the bronchial passage is narrow so much that breathing is a struggle. So you can see the swelling all the way through to the tissues here. These bands are tight, whereas here they're normal. Asthma symptomatic remedies, again, cordyceps, wonderful. Licorice root, vitamin C, turmeric or curcumin are great anti-inflammatories to help open and dilate the bronchioles. Lobelia, I've had many people who have used simultaneously the lobelia and the ALJ and have had some good relief doing that. And they've been able to reduce their inhaler. Now, these inhalers are often given to you by medical doctors, and you really should keep with the medical doctor. If you have been put on medication, you should discuss downstepping with them. You shouldn't just cut yourself off cold turkey from any medication. Now, NSP also has a breathe activator that seems to open up these passages. There's wonderful herbs in it that support breathing. So asthma lifestyle remedies, you know, it's a shame, but little children are often affected by asthma. You want to make sure that they're staying hydrated, that water is their drink of choice. Eliminate food allergies. A lot of times they're allergic to wheat or dairy or nuts. So you want to check out what their allergies are. If you see a response after eating a certain thing, you want to avoid refined carbohydrates, so like things like Pop-Tarts and cereals, and eat more nutritionally dense foods. Strengthen the adrenal glands. Stress has a huge impact, and the adrenal glands are the stress responders. So there are licorice root for children is excellent, and for adults, there's adrenal support that actually has raw adrenal in it, so it helps rebuild the adrenals. And adaptogens. I mean, there are tons of adaptogenic herbs that can be used, astragalus, and these are foods that are eaten on a daily basis in other countries. And then there's a hiatal hernia. You need to check to see whether or not that's an issue, because having the stomach up into the diaphragm is definitely going to cause distress in the diaphragm. And speaking of distress, we have the wonderful, it's like a homeopathic remedy. It's called Distress Remedy, but it's for emotions. And this has been popular for like 25 years. I have used this in my practice for that long. I was one of the first when it came out to buy it because I knew the value of flower remedies, and I was making my own at the time, mixing my own, and I got such good response just from this particular formula of arnica, Star of Bethlehem, rock rose, impatiens, clematis, cherry plum, red clover, and the beautiful part of it is it's in a glycerin base. So this can be used with children. It can be rubbed on the bottoms of the feet of babies when they're in distress, and you can actually just see them relax. It is such a great product. I have 2 or 3 whenever you don't know when trauma is going to hit. And it can really help calm a person so that they can think more clearly. And there's reactive airway disease. This is similar to asthma. Bronchial passages are hypersensitive to irritation. Breathing cold air, dust, or other minor irritants can trigger a dry, non-productive coughing, wheezing, difficulty breathing, tight feeling in the chest, and shortness of breath. So here is another way that you can take the distress remedy and lobelia. Those often get immediate help to the bronchioles. So the lobelia will calm it, and the distress remedy will calm you so you can take deeper breaths, relax the breathing, and reduce the stress on the body. Pneumonia. Now, pneumonia is typically caused by a viral or bacterial infection. Inflammation causes fluid to accumulate in the lungs, making breathing difficult. It often occurs as a complication of flu in the elderly. So it also is something that is being seen a lot, like I'm experiencing due to COVID. I think this whole thing has been mishandled. People have been given wrong information, and you need to do your own research on this problem. I don't want to say too much because YouTube is censoring everything. So pneumonia remedies, antiviral or antibacterial remedies, garlic works for both. So it doesn't matter if it's a viral or bacteria, garlic will work. And there is another herb called Andrographis, and nanoparticle silver works on both. You can nebulize it and breathe it in to try and get it into the lungs. You can actually blend it with essential oils to nebulize it. I love the recipe Deep, Breathe Deep. It's an essential oil blend that I rub on my chest and actually can feel relief in my breathing. It's especially helpful at night. So some expectorants are Grandella. Now, horseradish, we had a Walker juicer, and one of the things you could do was take a horseradish root and masticate it and make horseradish sauce, basically. Well, my husband tried a teaspoon of it. His face turned beet red. I thought steam was going to come out of his ears, but boy, did his sinuses open up and mucus thinned, and it was scary, but oh my goodness, what a healing experience it was, immediate. So, but I don't know if you want to go that route. Actually, just smelling horseradish will make my eyes water. So again, NSP-ALJ or the capsules seasonal allergy is very helpful in this. Now, years ago, I think I was in my 20s, I had pleurisy. Oh my goodness, that was extremely painful. If I wanted to take a deep breath, my husband would have to do a bear hug and kind of wrap his arms around me to tighten and stop the ability for my lungs to do this. And that was the only way I could take a deeper breath than just, because every movement of the lungs was painful. So it was really difficult to breathe. So it may also involve some collection of fluid, fibrous tissue in the thoracic cavity, but you can see the inflammation. It's the lining that of the thoracic cavity and the lungs. And oh yeah, it was pretty awful. So pleurisy root, coltsfoot flower. This was unfortunately way before I knew anything about herbs. So had to take care of it through medical means. MSM and vitamin C. So vitamin C is something everybody should be taking. I prefer the citrus bioflavonoids because it's a full spectrum vitamin C that helps with tissue repair. So COPD. Now, this is a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's actually an assortment of conditions, can be a combination of adult asthma, chronic bronchitis, emphysema. Symptoms include cough with mucus, shortness of breath, fatigue, frequent respiratory infections, and wheezing. So the lung tissue actually dies in this particular thing. So it is a serious disorder. These people definitely have to be on oxygen, and this is what I mean. This whole thing here, very upsetting. So stop smoking. Now, my neighbor has this. He never smoked a day in his life, but he owned a bar. And of course, secondhand smoke can create this condition as well. So improve intestinal health with enzymes and probiotics. He has a horrible diet. It's pizza like 3 times a week. He lives alone, doesn't like to cook, so it's hard. Again, there may be some hiatal hernia things that obstruct the ability for the lungs to expand. It is the diaphragm that moves the lungs. The lungs themselves don't. It's the diaphragm that helps to bellow the lungs. And if the diaphragm's frozen in a certain area, obviously the lungs are not going to be moving. So eat a healthy diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, eliminate common allergy causing foods like wheat, dairy, soy, those type of things. So now moistening expectorants are licorice, mullein, reishi. Some lung tonics are astragalus. Astragalus is something that you can take on a daily basis. Same thing with cordyceps. And then we have a Chinese lung support, which is something that I am taking. Bronchial dilators are Kela, lobelia, some antitussives, cold foot flower, and black cherry bark. So emphysema. Now, it's the most common form of COPD. You can see where the lung tissue is beginning to die, that it doesn't look like this normal tissue. So it's a degenerative disease where inflammatory processes in the alveoli have caused tissue breakdown. Alveoli lose their elasticity, making breathing labored. Fluid also accumulates in the lung tissue. So in other words, they can't move that fluid out. And basically, you can drown in your own fluid. So symptoms include labored breathing, wheezing, and husky cough. Horsetail, oh my goodness. I just recently did a video, so you can find that in my YouTube channel on horsetail, but it is, it's also called joint herb, joint grass. It pops in between these pop and create joints but it is full of silica. So it is very helpful for the restoration of the elasticity of the lung tissue and helping stop the leakage of fluid. So encourage those you care about to get on horsetail if they are having breathing issues. Mullein for moving fluid in the lungs. So, horsetail and mullein, and helping to soothe and heal damaged lung tissue. Other herbs for healing is slippery elm, marshmallow, and if you grow comfrey, use fresh as a tea, because the mucilins in comfrey can be very beneficial for all joints, all ligaments, and especially helpful in these situations. So more remedies for emphysema is astragalus, cordyceps, again, the lung support. This is cordyceps right here. Expectorants are Grandalia, which also called gumweed, plantain, elecampane, and pine bark. COVID-19 produces flu-like symptoms, and the recovery rate is above 99.9. So now I have natural immunity to COVID. So does my just turned 80-year-old husband. We were the talk of the hospital because we were so healthy. They've treated 60-year-olds that were deteriorating worse than we were. So people who are elderly, obese, and suffer from other chronic health problems are at greatest risk for this. Actually, your immune system can fight this. There should be no fear. The problem is that most people aren't taking the vitamin D they need. Their vitamin D levels are way down. They should be up in the 80s and 90s. If you're actually fighting COVID, the recommendation is zinc, and you can take Schweppes or any of the tonic water that contains quinine, and make your own hydroquinine. Vitamin C is very important. Everybody should be on that. And there's some research out there that shows that N-acetylcysteine is a good thing to take. So herbs reported helpful for COVID. Again, all these adaptogens, astragalus, atracolides, balloon flower, cordyceps, elderberry, mullein, salvia, and yarrow. So the best defense is keeping your own immune system strong and eating healthy food, doing what you know will support good health. So it's very logical. There should be no more fear about it. I hope you enjoyed learning about the respiratory system and how you can keep it healthy. Please look through my YouTube channel. I have over 50 different videos, some only 10, 15 minutes. These monthly classes are close to an hour. I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe, and please share these, because more people need to know that you do have a way to control your own health by the things you choose, the foods you eat. And remember to look for the 25% discount in the description below. This is Dr. Mary for the Health of It. Until next time.